Okay, you're welcome back to class, to your gold collections class. So today we are continuing with our crinoline class, the master class for how to use crinoline. So today you can see here with me, you have a flower there on a stalk and then attached to the Alice band. And so today this is what we're going to look at, how to use the crinoline to do this. Now, like I usually say, just because I have done this doesn't mean this is all there is about using this particular design. You can use it for any other design. You can put it together in any other way. But I'm going to show us today how to make these petals, which I call a lily, and then how to couple it together. So please do follow me as we continue. Thank you. So you're welcome to class today. So today we continue with using the crinoline material. It's a very versatile material and you can use it for so many things, much more than a lot of things that we are also using it for. All right, so usually the first thing I do whenever I need to use my crinoline, because it usually comes this way, it's folded, so the corners makes a mark when it's folded and you want to use it. So usually the first thing I do is to iron out all these corners so that it will lay flat, just as I have it here. I've ironed out this end, so I'm going to iron out the corners, so that now when you are ironing your crinoline, make sure that your iron is not too hot. Right now I've put it on the highest mark, but I'm going to reduce it, because if it's too hot it's going to singe it, so we don't want that to happen. So I've ironed it flat now. So if I need a lot more, I would iron more, but as it is, I don't need too much. So now I've ironed that. The next thing is to measure out what I need. Now for the design that we're going to cut today, I'm going to need just 8 inches of the crinoline. This is the widest crinoline we have around here, so I'm using this wide crinoline, and so I've cut the 8 inches that I need out of that crinoline, and then I'm going to cut the 8 inches, I'm going to cut it into 2. You'll see that when you're working with your crinoline, it expands because it's woven, it's nylon and it's woven. Now there's something about the crinoline, a lot of times on one end of your crinoline, you'll have a line of thread running through at one end usually. Sometimes it doesn't come with that thread, but a lot of times it does. So that thread has its uses, but when you are not using that thread, it's better to just remove it. Sometimes I see crinoline designs where the thread is not removed. It's an eyesore. Please always remember to remove your thread at the top of your crinoline if you don't need it. There are times that it comes in handy, but if you're not using it, you remove it. Also, I've cut my 8 inches crinoline, and I've also cut it into 2. So I have two neat woven edges there, and I have the edges where I cut it into 2. So the next thing I'm going to do is to fold my crinoline into 2 and iron lengthwise. I folded it into 2 lengthwise and I ironed it, meaning that I have 4 inches on the fold. I'm folding into 2 and iron down. All right, and like I said, your iron must not be too hot. So after doing that, now I need 5 petals, as you can see on my fascinator here. I have 5 petals there. You could make it 4, but I feel that 5 makes it come out better. All right, so apart from your crinoline for this design, we also you'll need wire. I'm using what is called the scientific wire here. I'm using copper wire, and this one is 0.71 mm. You can use something thicker, and this one is 0.90 mm. You can this is thicker, but I'm going to be using this to hold my flowers in place. All right, sorry. All right, so I folded this into two. So the next thing is to begin the work with it. So the next thing is to cut. It depends on what you want to use it for, but I'll cut like 5 inches of the wire. After cutting it, I'll roll this end just a little bit so that it can hold. I'll roll this end. I hope you can see that. All right, so the next thing is to walk my flower into position. So the next thing to do, I've folded into two, I've ironed it down, is to bring this end to the center. I allow it to overlap. I hope you can see the overlap. Can you see the overlap? You can see the overlap. So I allow it to overlap about an inch, and then I bring it to the center. You see what I have. All right, so that's what I'm going to be doing. All right, I also need my glue gun. So I apply the glue gun, the glue stick, the glue. I apply the glue, a little bit of the glue to the center, and then I do what I have just shown you. I bring it over and I bring it over so it overlaps. I hope you can see that. Can you see the overlap? All right, and then I add some glue to the edges that are open. I take my wire, the rolled end, I apply a little glue. I put it in the center, and then I hope you see what I'm doing. Then I do the other side. I apply the glue to the edges, and then I bring it together towards the metal in the center, and there. I'll do it one more time so that you can see it. I take my wire, flexible wire, some call it flexible wire, but you can get this wire in shops where they sell material for beading. This is usually used by beaders. So I roll the edge, one end of my wire there, and then I take my crinoline that I folded into two. I apply my glue to the center line. I fold over so that it forms an overlap. It's when it forms an overlap that it will look really elegant. If it doesn't form an overlap, so I have an overlap, so it looks like a triangle. All right, I hope you can see that. And then I add my glue to the rolled end of my wire. I place it at the center, allow it to stick down, and then I apply some glue. I apply some of the glue to the first side like that, and then I bring it together. While I'm bringing it together, I'm using my hands to do the shaping. and then I want to finish it as neatly as possible so that I don't have a rough finish. I want to finish it as neat as possible. All right, so I've added it to the second side and then put it together and push it into place and make it as neat as possible. I hope you can see that. All right, so I have, now you can use it this way, you can use it this way, and then you can put it together like I have done here. All right, so the next thing, you can see my 5 petals now is ready. My petals are ready. So the next thing is to put it together, and then to do that I apply my gum to one side. I make sure that the openings are facing me, and then I put it together. I applied the gum again to one side, just a little to one side, and then I put it together. Apply it again to one side. That's the 4th one. Then I do another one. Make sure your petals, the fold in your petals are facing you. And then for the final lap, I now place it and put it together. All right, so I have my metal tails at the bottom, and then I can push the metal tails together and twist them into place. So there you have it. If there's any side that is not stuck together properly, you work on it. Okay, all right. So I have my flower in place. Now you have to make up your mind what you want to use for the middle. For example, I've used the fuchsia pink rose material, rose fabric for the center of my own, and that's because I'm using a pink leaf here. All right, now another thing that you would need to finish this is the green tape. The green tape is usually used by flower makers, artificial flower makers. So you wrap your green tape, cut a fairly long length, it's easy to cut, so you wrap your green tape to the bottom of your flower, and then it's ready for use however you now want to use it. And then to finish it off, you put an item. It could be a rose, it could be anything, just to finish off your center in that place. Now you'll notice that I have a single lily petal here. You could do a single lily petal, or you could do what I call leaves. To do the leaves also, you go the same route. And what do I mean? You cut your wire, you fold the end so that it can hold in place when you use it, and then you take an 8-inch crinoline, which I've cut out already here, and then you iron it also into 2. The ironing helps you to just lay it flat in place. And then the next thing, this is the edge where I have cut. You can see that it's free in there, and this is the neat end. So I put it together. I will cut off here, which is going to form the center of the leaf that I want to use for this design, and then add some glue. And put it in the center. I stick it down in the center. Then I'll add glue to one side and bring it together to form my leaf. Then I add gum again, glue to the other side also, and then I also bring it together so that my leaf is sitting pretty. Now if there are any stray items there, you just add a little glue or a little so that it can stay in place. All right. And because of the wire inside, I can shape it any way I want. And then I can also take the green tape and roll it at the bottom of my leaf. I can add a little glue so I can stay in place. So this can form a leaf for my lily there. I hope you have learned something here. So that's one other way of using your crinoline to make your roses. All right. Thank you very much. See you in the next class.